This closet has great acoustics. I was thinking, I figured out how to walk. I figured out how to do multiple things at the same time. I figured out how to run a business. I figured out how to get good grades in school. I figured out a lot of stuff. I haven't figured out though how to help someone trust themselves. I had a conversation this week with a client who had a big breakthrough, and I was stumped. He was like, how do I learn to trust myself? And I couldn't really think of an answer. We'll probably work on it together, but almost everyone I've ever worked with has had an issue trusting themselves. And I don't really know where I even learned that. I I would say that there are plenty of periods where I don't feel that, but I don't know where I learned that. Do you know where you learned that? How do you learn how to trust yourself? Well, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it, right? I'm like, okay, how do you build some kind of trust in yourself that can get you through hard times, can get you through something that feels like it's not real, or that you don't understand it yet, or is out of your control? And I think the only way to do that, realistically, is to say, what's the amount of evidence that you can summon up when you're in question, so that you have a lot of receipts to look back at, say, you can handle this. But I don't know. There's this moment I remember as a kid where I was getting picked on. I was on a school bus headed home from middle school. And I was being picked on and picked on and picked on for so long that I don't really remember this weird moment. The kid stood up, was yelling at me from 2 seats ahead of me. And as he stands up and is yelling at me, everyone around him gets really quiet. So it's like an eerie quiet on the back of the school bus that normally would have had a lot of noise. These were the kind of school buses where there was I don't know, it's almost like dark green patent leather seats, not comfortable, not fun. And he keeps going. I remember not getting up. I remember telling him to stop. Then I remember he said something else. I stood up and I said his name and I said stop one more time. Then I don't remember anything until I was off the bus. And all I remember was a thumbs up from the bus driver, people sort of yelling my name, almost like in a celebratory way, I don't know, cheering. You could hear the rumor mill of a middle school bus kind of chattering. And the bus door closing. The next day, Tony came up and apologized. And I learned then that I had punched him out of this crazy self-defense. That moment really scared me though, because I didn't know what to do, and I've had to process a lot of that over the years. I was 11, 12, and I think in that moment, I probably learned not to trust myself. So it's been a long period of time coming back to work on that. I've been working on that since I was conscious, which I'd say was 16, 17, really aware of what had happened. I didn't get in a whole lot of trouble as a kid, but that was certainly one of the moments where it actually didn't turn into anything else. He apologized, wanted to be my friend. And that kid never picked on me again, and I don't think anybody else did either. I learned something about me. I learned that I had just a lot to process, and I could stand up for myself in some ways. Sort of two things at once, right? To stand up for yourself was really meaningful, especially when you're 11, 12, and being bullied all the time, because that was not a one-time incident. Uh, the bullying was not a one-time incident. I was bullied a lot. Anyway, I like stood up for myself, and there was something about being proud of that that like I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight now. But that's different than having to stand up for something. You know, standing up for something or holding your ground or protecting yourself is not going and looking for a fight. Those are very different things. But this experience, I think, was one of the first times I learned that I could trust myself to stand up for me in a way. I've had to do some of those things, not fight, but I've had to stand up for myself, I think, a number of times. And standing up for yourself doesn't always look like, I don't know, fighting back when you're being bullied. Standing up for yourself might mean leaving, it might mean loving, it might mean trying again, it might mean asking for help, it might mean finding support and being honest about where you're at. Like, it could be a discussion about mental health. You could open up to therapists. Like, that's standing up for yourself. I think it's wild that standing up for yourself has kind of become this one lane road of, well, obviously you have to defend your castle. In a way, like, look, I understand that you want to keep it narrow, but standing up for yourself can actually be a lot of things. And standing up for yourself is one of the most self-loving things you can do. So I hope that you build some receipts, that you log your receipts, that you write out and journal, you know, what kind of things you want to be your stack of evidence, I suppose is what I'm saying. Like give it enough thought to be like, when do I stand up for myself? When have I really allowed myself to hold my line and said no to everybody else, or just spoken my truth or been in my truth? You might find an actual remarkable degree of moments that you can then summon up when it's time to go through anything hard. But I don't know that there's a science to building trust with yourself. I think we're just emotional creatures that miss the science. We make up stories, and oh man, did we make up stories? Haven't figured it out. I've helped a lot of people, men lately, more so than women, but a lot of clients through the last almost decade of being a coach. And wow, there's I think almost everybody, like, self-trust is like a theme. I don't know if there's a code. Maybe I should work on that. The code for trust. Everybody needs self-trust. Even I need self-trust. I'm tired. I'm really tired. It's been a long week. What a great week. Hope you're having a great week. And I hope you've figured out, like, the self-trust thing. You've figured out a lot of other things before. What's one more?